Here's a story that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, the story is like this: I go every day since the massacre on October 7th over here. So I was in America when that happened, but when I came here, so I decided I'm going to try to go every day to there's a nearby hospital where there's a lot of people waiting outside, and I'll go to those people and I'll put tefillin, ask them if they want to put on tefillin. So since then, with God's help, I've done it every day. It's really quite amazing. And I always go like at the end of the day. There's a saying in I don't know where it's from, but if there wasn't such a thing as the last minute, no one would get anything done. It's the same thing with me. If it wasn't the last minute, I would keep putting it on. So there's an end time. You can't not supposed to put on tefillin after the sun sets. It's called shkia. There's a set time. Set time. Like now it's 5 o'clock in Israel. After 5 o'clock, you're not supposed to put on tefillin. Okay. So I go there, let's say no less than a half an hour. Every day I go. I don't go on Fridays. There's another big marketplace where I go to, but I go every weekday I go. And never less than a half an hour. And sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes. So yesterday I had a lot of things to do, whatever it was, and I raced down there the hospital, and I got there and I was so happy. I had 32 minutes before Shkia, more than half an hour, and I realized that I forgot to bring the bag with the tefillin. Now I live not far away from this place. It's like about 10-minute drive, about a 10-minute drive, because there's traffic lights and there's traffic all the time. It's about a 10-minute drive, not far away, until you find a park to place the park. So there I are. All of a sudden I realized I forgot to bring the bag with the tefillin in it. So I can't do anything. I'm not, what am I going to just do? Go and smile at people? What am I going to do? So I figured, well, maybe, I guess maybe today I won't go. Then I thought to myself, no. There's a saying, at least in Chabad, there's a saying, it's never too late. Nish kein verfallen. It's never too late. Never too late. So I figured, okay, never too late. I'll go back home and I'll make it, 5 minutes. I'll put tefillin on people. And then, of course, the thought fell into my mind, what? Come on, what is 5 minutes going to do? It takes you 5 minutes just to walk from your car to the place where they're going to put on tefillin. You're going to do 1 minute. You're going to race there and come back for 1 minute. So I said, listen, all these logic and all these reasons are all right. I'm going to do it. Forget about the reasons. Maybe I'll waste my time. So a big deal. So I waste my time. All of a sudden, ideas pop up. What do you mean waste your time? You could do other things. There's other things you could learn. You could do this. So I know what the trick to this is. All these thoughts that come that dissuade you from doing good things. So the trick I use, I agree with them. Yes, you're right. It's a waste of time. It's not going to work. It's going to be fine. This. Then the thoughts go away. Then I go and do it. I do it. So anyway, so I jumped in the car and I raced back home, drove back home, and screeched. And I ran in, got the bag of tefillin, put it in my car, and I came back, raced back. I said, okay, maybe I only have 1 minute. I looked at my watch. I have 20 minutes. The whole thing, going back to my house and coming there, took me only 10 minutes. 5 minutes there, 5 minutes back. I must have been that I didn't get any green lights, or I went through the red light. I didn't go through the red lights. Anyway, I get green lights and there was no traffic. The whole thing was a big miracle. But okay, so then I go and put the tefillin on people 20 minutes. That's not so bad. And finally, the first couple of people say they don't want to, they're not going to do it. Finally, one fellow had all these rings on his fingers, a young guy. So I heard him, he was speaking English. I said, you want to put on tefillin? And he said, doesn't know. I said, come on, put on. I said, you Jewish? Yeah, I'm Jewish. So I put on tefillin. He had never put on tefillin in his life. He was from Australia, and he had never put on tefillin in his life. And he didn't even know how to read. He didn't know the blessing. I asked him 5 times, are you sure you're Jewish? Your mother was Jewish? Yeah, my mother was Jewish. She always told me that I'm Jewish, and she says she's Jewish, and she's like candles and everything. No. And he got married. He got married to a Jewish woman in Israel. So the rabbinut, they check to see if you're Jewish. They have to have some sort of a proof. So he must have brought his birth. Anyway, so he put on tefillin, and he was happy. He put on tefillin. It was the first time. And I talked to him about putting on tefillin. Then afterwards, I went to another place, and I saw there was this big sort of general of the army. Now, usually these people are very haughty, and they got to where they are. by not doing Torah commandments. So obviously you don't have to do Torah commandments to succeed or to get blessed. These people are already blessed and they're so usually they don't want to put on tefillin. But I figured I got to ask everybody. So I mean, ask in a nice way. I said, "Excuse me, would you want to put on tefillin?" So he looked at me with this look like, I didn't know what was going to come, but it didn't look good. And he looked at me and he said, "Tefillin." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, okay." So he put on tefillin. He didn't know exactly how to do it. So he put on tefillin, and I gave him the Shema Yisrael, and he just stood there for maybe, he went over to a corner, and he stood there for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just most amazing thing. And if I wouldn't have gone, these two people wouldn't have put on tefillin. You can ask yourself a question. It's a big deal, though, so they don't put on tefillin. So what's the big deal? Ask a different question. Why did they put on tefillin in the first place? Why was it important to them? Why did they do it? Why did they put on tefillin? One had gotten it through his whole life without putting on tefillin ever, and the general, he was successful without putting on tefillin. What's the because they feel that somehow or other putting on tefillin is above understanding. It's not. There's no reward involved. The reward is you're doing what's true. That's the reward, and that's what it means. Schar mitzvah mitzvah. The reward for a commandment is the commandment itself. And so both of them, they took out tefillin and said that was very amazing. I said, yeah, putting on tefillin here in this place, it's like finding the holy temple in the middle of a jungle. Here in the middle of all this confusion and everything like that. All of a sudden you see the holiness, godliness, completely not understandable, completely above understandable, but totally good. And that's what's going to bring the future redemption. Have a good day with Mashiach now.